Good afternoon, Santa Cruz County Public Media friends and family. It's such a pleasure to see you guys here again in another Meet Your Local Candidates. And I really love these segments of Meet Your Local Candidates and We Love Nogales, Santa Cruz County Public Media, because we want to make sure that we are informed, that we know who our local candidates are, because our voting around Santa Cruz County counts a lot. So we want everyone in Santa Cruz County to start voting early in October, then in November. And that's why we have our awesome guest here, John Fanning. John Fanning is running for Supervisor of District 3 in Santa Cruz County for District 3. Yes, and thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to have you with us again, because I want to say congratulations to you for all your hard work that you did. You passed our primaries, and now you're here representing us in the Democrat Party and running for District 3 for County Supervisor.
You bet.
Thank you so much.
Great to be here.
Yes, thank you. It's such a pleasure. And, we want to take this time for our public to get to know more about who John Fanning is. Mr. Fanning, I say Mr. Fanning with so much respect, because in the school district, they call you Mr. Fanning. You are a very busy person. And we want to know more about you, about your plans. Let us know why are you here in We Love Nogales, which is such a pleasure to have you all the time. And talk to your audience about Mr. John Fanning, their plans, and then we'll keep touching base about a little bit about everything. I know you cover a lot in District 3, in District 2. You're part of the Rotary. You're part of the school district. So I also want to ask you, how do you keep up with all those things? How will you be managing that if you get elected? So please talk to us.
Well, before I start talking about myself, I just want to say thank you to We Love Nogales and for you, Maritza, and Edgardo, for all that you do for our community, whether it be the bicycle races, whether it be the panel that we had in Patagonia. You're always out in the community, and you do so much, not only for Nogales, but the entire county. So thank you so much to both of you for all you do.
Thank you.
Well, this is the second time I've been here. I was here a long time ago, and just wanted to say a little bit about myself. My name is John Fanning, originally from Illinois, moved to Green Valley. Although we had been visiting Green Valley since 1969, eventually moved in 1979. And two of my best friends at the time, one lived in Tumacacri, one lived in Rio Rico. So I came down quite a bit. It's changed quite a bit.
Yes,
but we moved. I come from a very strong family, a strong relation. We're very close. Right. I have two heroes. My mom and my dad, and they're both passed. But I, very close to my three brothers and their families, and I'm lucky enough to marry Susie 30 and a half years ago.
Wow.
And we have three boys, and I have a grandson, and my sons either have a wife or a significant other. Yeah. So that's a little bit about me. I've been in the education business this is the beginning of my 36th year.
Wow. Thank you for your hard
thank
work.
you. Well, I love what I do. I knew out of high school that two things. I had a love for kids, and I had a love for sports. Right. And you turn that into a physical education teacher and a coach, and I evidently did some good things as a teacher and coach, and moved into site administration, and I was an assistant principal for 3 years, and about 13 or 14 years as principal within the district. And I love what I do. I hope and I think I have a positive impact on our students, and through coaching and through teaching, and now I'm the community outreach coordinator for our district. And like I said, hope that I've had a positive impact.
Right.
And now I want to take that work ethic and the love for the community and the love for where we live and take that to the county level. I want to help this county through tough times, and I want to be there leading the charge for making our county the best in the state of Arizona.
Thank you. And what an awesome representation. What a great end, like to represent us in a good way in the whole state of Arizona. That will be also very proud for all of us, living here in Santa Cruz County. So thank you for sharing, Mr. Fanning. And I know you've been serving for many, many years in the schools, and now the work as a supervisor for District 3. I would love for you if you can share what a supervisor does and what covers District 3. And I know I mention that often, for our local candidates when they sit down here to share with us, what does this specific job, will do when you get elected? What is a supervisor? What's the role of it? If you can kind of share in a couple of words, and also what will cover District 3. I think sometimes we see all these signs, and as our young generations, even the old ones, like I always share, I didn't know so many people will get to vote for so many jobs, positions in the county. So if you can explain us all that will be very helpful. Repetition and for all of our community. Yes.
Certainly. And one of the things, and I've said this speaking of repetition, I've said this in many different settings, is District 3 is made up of very, very different demographics. And this is what I've said over and over. I said that Tubac is different than Tumacacri, is different than Carmen, is different than East Rio Rico, is different than Patagonia, is different than Elgin, is different than Sonoita. So that is all District 3 and everything in between. So it's a difficult position because the needs of Tubac may not be the same needs as Rio Rico, may not be the same needs as the eastern portion of the county. So it's important, and one of the things I hope to talk about today is one of the tenets that I'm running on is representation. It's so critical that each one of those little pockets, areas, communities, has representation, and that's one of the things that I'd like to do is make sure, and I'll talk a little bit about that, hopefully in a little bit, about my plan and how to make sure that I'm listening and hearing to what the constituents are saying throughout each one of those different areas. The county supervisors, in the big picture is they take care of everything to do with the county, whether that be the oversight. They oversee different areas within the county. They meet twice a month. They meet, I'm sure, with their constituents much more than that. But as a board, they meet twice a month, and they go over everything from the financial aspect to any type of building, any type of infrastructure need within the county. They're responsible for. And that's why I think it's important that if I do get elected, one of the first things I do, and I always say this in any leadership role, if you are coming into a new leadership role, you open this, and you close this, except for to ask questions. And that's one of the things, that my learning curve is I've never been involved in politics, and so my learning curve is somewhat steep. So I think it's important that I get in there and I talk to people at the county, and I find out a lot more about what's happening. So one of the things I think is critical, vitally important, is that when you make a decision, it's not based on hearsay, it's not based on rumor, it's based on fact, and it's educated. So I think that's important. But everything to do with the county is what the supervisors are responsible for. It's a 3-person board, so it's making sure my goal just like as an administrator, when I was a principal at one of the schools in the district, I always do try to do what's best for the students of that school, but I'm also have another eye on what's best for the district. Right. And I would say it's very similar in this situation. Really keep tabs on what's happening and what the constituents want in District 3, but also make decisions based on what's best, not only for District 3, but also for the county. Right. Which is difficult because, like I said, different areas have different needs, and sometimes those needs might have conflict.
Right, right. And thank you for sharing also, like the differences in foreseeing at the same time that there are differences between the same district and needs, and you're willing to see it, to open, your ears, your eyes, and then, learn and then take
right.
advocacy, take work on it.
Right.
So thank you.
And that's one of the things that I'd like to. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and I think one of the strengths that I can bring to the table is my ability to work with others. Yes. I've worked with so many different types of people and organizations and groups, and I've learned to navigate through those and know how to get things done. So I'd like to think that's one of my strengths, is able to work with others to get things done.
True, thank you. And speaking of, talking with different groups, different people, we know also you are very active in the community as part of the Rio Rico Rotary Club. Very proud Rio Rico Rotarians right here.
You betcha.
And I see you very often managing, talking to the Rotarians. But what other activities also are you involved in your community? And I know that's like a large also activities that the Rio Rico Rotary do, but what are other the activities that you are in?
Well, within the Rotary, and here's a little shout out to all the Rotarians.
Yes.
Service above self is the motto, and that's one of the things that we like to do, is we like to help the community. We volunteer at the serving food to those in need.
The pasta kitchen.
Yeah, the pasta kitchen. In a couple weeks, I'm heading down to Hermosillo, and we volunteer. Some of the Rotarians on I-19 volunteer at the cleft palate surgeries. From children all over Mexico, and they come to Hermosillo, and we're there to help. And we do things for the Bikes for Tykes for first graders. We do dictionaries, give out dictionaries to the third graders. We do a lot of things for the community. Some other things I'm involved in. I'm part of the Santa Cruz County Provisional Community College Board. I work with 4 other fine people, as well as Georgina, and we try to do what's best for the folks who are out of high school. Part of First Things First, which deals with birth through age 4.
Yes.
And then part of the United Way of Santa Cruz County. So we try to do some good things throughout the community. I not only help, and I'm the announcer for football games and basketball games and stuff at Rio Rico, but I also cross the rivalry between Nogales and Rio Rico, and I volunteer for the senior projects. I think that's one of the funnest things to do every year is see what the seniors are doing at Nogales and being a judge there. But no, I keep myself busy. I'm part of many different organizations, and I keep myself busy. Sometimes my mom and my brothers say I burn the candle at both ends. So, but as long as I can get out and help the community become better, that's what I'm all about.
Awesome. And Mr. Fanning, let me ask you a question. Do you think that if you get elected as a board of supervisors for District 3, Mr. John Fanning, it will affect your position of what you're doing, running in your community with so many activities?
Well, one of the things that I've run on is the idea that if I am elected to the Board of Supervisors, then I've had a wonderful, 30, at that point it'll be 36-year run in education. But I've said I'm going to be a full-time supervisor, and that's what I'm going to be.
Okay.
Whether that's in the office or whether that's out meeting with the constituents from all those different, areas that I talked about earlier, I will be a full-time supervisor. Now, my contract within the school district is from the beginning of the year until June 30th. So one of the things that I've proposed to the school district is that I could work, 3 or 4 hours maybe a day within the district, but be full-time at the county. Awesome. So, and as far as some of the organizations I'm involved in, since one of them is elected, I will probably have to, resign from that position within the community college, provisional community college district. But I'd like to stay active in all the other organizations because every organization that I'm part of is there to help other people. And that's exactly what I want to do at the county level. So I'm hoping that I can, work within the county as well as continue with some of the organizations I'm part of, to try to help make the county and our community better.
And thank you for highlighting that, because at the same time, I think a leader, always looks for what's the best in the community, and it tries to get involved as much as they can in different areas in parts of the community. And that's why we see you everywhere, like supporting and helping in different areas. So thank you for bringing that up. And what do you think are the main issues around our community, or the main issues that we need to attack, if
Right. Well, there's quite a few, but the two that I would say are probably the most prominent in our community or county. First is the trust in local government. There's been things happen over the last 20 years, but especially in the last 5 years, with things at the local level that have eroded people's trust in the government. So I think it's incredibly important that we are as transparent as we can be. I understand that, being in a school district, I understand when, boards have to go into executive session. I understand that. That's important to speak with lawyers. But as much as possible, we need to be transparent, which means try to keep as much as we can out of executive session, meeting with the constituents, talking to them, letting them know what's happening, but not just telling them what's happening, but also listening to what some of their needs are. And I think that will build trust. I think every year within the school district, we're mandated to take numerous small little not classes, but you listen on the computer, and you have to answer some questions. And one of those is ethics training. And I think it's important that everybody at the county level, there's some oversight, and that we take that ethics training. I'd love to bring that if that's doable. The other, I think right now, and I know that the treasurer, the county treasurer, that's on everybody's mind right now. I think that some of the safeguards that the current treasurer has put into play are fantastic, and I just think we need to continue to make sure that there are more than one set of eyes on anything that has to do with funding. Anything. The other issue that's on a lot of people's mind is the protection of natural resources and the preservation of natural resources. In particular, I know people, have been discussing the South 32 mine and what's happening there, and I was part of the panel, and I learned a lot. That's one of those things that I said earlier. Open this open this, close this, unless it's asking questions. And I learned quite a bit, and there's still a lot to learn. But I've met with the South 32 folks, and I know, for the most part, the people who are here, on the ground here, are listening and trying to do what needs to be done to protect our natural resources, whether that's water, whether that's our flora and fauna. It's incredibly important, and I've said to people, I do not want to mine in my backyard, and I continue to say that, and that's my stance. Saying that, I'm also I have a feeling, and I know that with the federal and the state government, supporting the critical minerals that the mines are mining, I think they're here to stay. I think South 32 is here to stay. So I think it's incredibly important that the town of Patagonia, the city of Nogales, the community of Patagonia, everyone that it's going to affect, all the stakeholders need to continue to talk to make sure that we have the protections that we need, not only now, but when we're long gone, and our kids are growing up in the area. It's important that they're safe. So whatever protections are put into place between South 32 and the town of Patagonia, the city of Nogales, and the entire county, I think it's important that we take whatever measures we can to protect our natural resources. We need to listen to the experts. I know some folks that are part of PARA, and they continue to make sure and to hold the mine accountable, and making sure that not only our water, but our environment in this area are safe. So I think those are two of the most critical issues in our community right now, and I think we need to continue to keep an eye on those.
Yes, and thank you for sharing and for being so open, because we know as citizens from Santa Cruz County, the county, the treasurer, the mine, there have been constant subjects that people encounter, that we talk about it. So I think it's very important also, like you mentioned, to open our mind, to open our ears, to open our vision, and learn as much as we can, so we can also, if we're worried about something, also, being able to learn what we heard and then ask questions, so we can be also supported within our community with what we already have inside, and how to make it better.
Right.
So
I like to say that where we live, we're a diamond in the rough. People.
Yes.
And I'm not a big city kind of person. I'm more of a rural person, but I think we live in one of the most beautiful parts of the entire country.
Yes.
And it's important to listen when you're outside and outdoors. I took a trip way up into the Patagonia Mountains with some folks, and to learn more about the environment. And it's such a lovely place to live, and we want to make sure that we continue to keep that. And that's one of the things, I have 4 tenets that I'm running on: education, recreation, preservation, and representation.
Awesome.
And preservation is one that's on a lot of people's minds right now. So it's important that we listen.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate it, and I think our public as well. It's appreciating, what you're sharing, what we're learning from John Fanning, running for Board of Supervisor for Santa Cruz County for District 3. Mr. Fanning, will you maybe on this talk that we just had, did you mention already like your top priorities, or what will your top priorities will be if you get elected as Board of Supervisors for District number 3?
Perfect. Well, I just mentioned the 4. One of the first one is education.
Yes.
It's not easy to guess that I love education. We have some incredible educators and teachers and parapros, and at all of the schools throughout the county. it's important that we continue to support them in the things that they're doing. So I will be a champion for education, for sure. The second, I call it my shuns, representations, but the second is recreation. We've done some great things in the county, some pickleball courts here and there, some walking paths. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that, especially in the eastern portion of the county. People need to get out, and they need to have, and be able to have fun, with recreation, whether that's biking, whether that's walking, whether that's bird watching, which is big, throughout the county. One of the biggest sports right now, up and coming sports in the United States, is pickleball. I'd love to see that. I've worked, in our district, and I'm hoping to bring a couple courts into the school district for the community to use. And we just completed our aquatic center. You speak about recreation, we're open only one day a week now, but the goal is to have lap swimming for those who want to, stay in shape and are physically fit. So the second one would be recreation. I want to make sure I champion anything to do with recreation. The third is preservation. I've already mentioned that a little bit. And I'm not just talking about the eastern portion of the county. We have the Santa Cruz River that runs, through the entire county. So it's important that we keep an eye on that and making sure that we preserve that beautiful river that flows through, and all the birding that goes on in the vicinity. And Tubac, I know that Tubac is very special. I think it was ranked it had to do with being the best small art town or community in the entire United States. So I want to make sure that we preserve that, and making sure that is something that's very important to the folks that live in Tubac and throughout the community. And if you ever have a chance to go to Tubac, it's great fun, especially when they have large gatherings and so forth. And then the fourth is representation. I know there's been talk in the past about that the eastern portion of the county feels sometimes that they're not represented. My plan is to have an advisory committee, made up of 3 to 5 people from each one of the areas and the pockets in the community that I talked about earlier, and meeting with them on a consistent basis, a monthly basis. Not just so I can stand up and be the sage on the stage. I want to be the guide on the side. I want to be listening to what they have to say and what their needs are in their community, and then try to make that come to fruition. I think that's critically important, and I think honestly, that, and I'm not talking about the county, I'm talking about everywhere in politics, that sometimes there's not true representation. It's not about what John Fanning wants. I represent thousands and thousands of people. It's what the will of that group is. So it's important that I listen.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing that. I think this is why I love Meet Your Local Candidates for our community, so we can get to learn directly from the candidate about your thoughts, about your plans, your priorities. So I think it is very important for us to know. So I would like to ask you, where will you be around? And tell us also about voting time, like when it's voting, how will you be, how are we gonna see you in our ballots? But let us know any plans to go around events around our community to get to know more about John Fanning running for District 3 for Board of Supervisors. Where will you be? Where can we go and ask questions? And then tell us about voting. We want to know, when are the early votings? When will be the November? So please talk to us.
Well, I'm going to talk directly to that camera.
Of course.
Please, if there's anything that you can do, make sure you get out and vote. October 9th is when the early voting is going to be starting. And that's what I choose. I'm an early voter, and I fill out my ballot and I turn it in. So get out and vote, whether that's October 9th or whether that's at the the general election, which is November 5th. Right. It's important that you get out and vote. One of the things that Maritza you talked about at the very beginning was the need and the importance of voting. It's so important to have your vote heard, and every vote counts. So please get out and vote. And if what I have to offer is something that works for you, then please vote for John Fanning.
Yes,
but as far as being out and about, I'm right now, I'm on Facebook. My number is out there for anyone who's looking.
Thank you.
My goal, and I know I'm not great at this sometimes, but my goal is always to answer a call or a text or an email within 24 hours. So that's what I strive to do. Doesn't always happen, just a lot of things on the plate, but that's what I try to do. But there's a couple other, I'll be out at Patagonia next week, I believe it is. I'm going to be meeting with some folks at the Wild Horse restaurant out there, so that's going to be next week. We also have the Santa Cruz County Citizens Council, and that's going to be happening in Tubac. I think that's on the 2nd of October. So those are two places that a person can find out more about, not just John Fanning, but everyone who's running, whether it be District 3, the sheriff, the Justice of the Peace, the treasurer. That's a great place for them to find people. But reach out to me. The other thing I will say is I'm teaming up with the state of Arizona representative for District 21. That's Consuelo Hernandez, and we are meeting this coming Sunday. And if it's okay, I'm going to look here because this is it's in Tumacacri. And that's part of the district. I was thinking of different places where I could meet, and I have different things that I do when I want to just get away and relax, and I call them my sanctuaries. One of my sanctuaries is in Tumacacri, and it's at my in-laws, my suegros house at Tumacacri. If you're going down past the Tumacacri Mission, past the chili factory, just south of the chili factory, I have a sign up, and it's right at the entrance to my in-laws. How they came from humble beginnings. They've done so well because they're hard workers. And that's where we're going to have the meet and greet, meet your local candidate. That's going to be myself and Consuelo Hernandez. It is this Sunday. From 3 to 6, so I'm going to talk there. This Sunday, I'd love to have you stop by, ask questions, get to know me a little bit more, know why I call my in-laws house my sanctuary. I was just there last night and just relaxed outside and just I one with nature. But that's let's see, it's 1854 East Frontage Road, Tumacacri, Arizona. It's right at where the sign is on the West Frontage Road, and that's this Sunday from 3 to 6. We'd love to have you out there. We're going to have free Sonoran dogs, myself and Consuelo. And we'll have some beverages, some chips, and it's just a chance to get to know me. So if you want to know a little bit more about John Fanning or Consuelo Hernandez, we'd love to see you there.
Amazing. Thank you for that invitation. I think it's great for our community just to go out, even if we're not on the district. We can stop by to get to know our candidates, to get to know their views, their visions. Because at the same time, Mr. Fanning, I wanna share with you, you and other candidates are the inspiration for the future generations that will be running in the future for either supervisors, for mayors, for justices of the peace, for treasurers. So I know because we're outside in our community, and sometimes the students that we also encounter and we work for, they want to know more, and they also been learning about meet your local candidates. So thank you for that inspiration, and I share this because it is amazing. I think yes, we should join your invitation to get to know these leaders that will be there. We can ask questions, and then maybe one day we can also follow, the steps. It takes, it's a journey, and we would love to take, your presence, your commitment, and then also if we like, what you're sharing with us, what your vision, all your plans, we vote for you on October 9 or November 5th. I will not forget October 9 because it's my birthday. So if you're
happy
out,
birthday, upcoming birthday.
Thank you. So if you go out on October 9, go vote early in your ballot, and then send us a happy birthday through We Love Nogales. That will be awesome. Yes, thank you. So we won't miss that. October 9, it's early voting through our ballots.
Yep.
You will be showing as John Fanning.
Yep, for District 3 Board of Supervisor.
Awesome. So thank you so much. Then join us on Sunday in Tumacacori from 3
to 6.
3 to 6.
And I was hoping that the weather would be a little bit nicer, but I've looked at the I looked at the forecast, and it's supposed to be a little bit hotter than normal.
Of course.
But even if it's hot in Tucson, it's most of the time it's much cooler.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shade structures at where we're going to be. So I'm looking forward to seeing people out there.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that invitation. Anything else, Mr. Fanning? Because I don't want any of our candidates to leave that chair without mentioning anything that they have to share with our community. Like I share with everyone, this is your space. This is the space for any local candidates that would like to share that information to our audience, because we know it's important and we know we can make an impact. Voting early, voting in person, getting to know our candidates. And I know we will make a difference. It will increase the votings because we're working really hard through Santa Cruz County Public Media, We Love Nogales, and to all of our leaders, our local candidates, to share this information to our new voters, to our old voters that maybe we haven't been able to go out or to fill out the voting registration. So please go out, get information, send us a message. Thank you. We've been receiving messages and we've been answering those messages about when to vote, how to register. So thank you. And if there's anything else that you would like to share?
I just want to represent the fine people of District 3 in Santa Cruz County, and I'm asking for their vote. Whatever I can do, I will do my very best to represent the people of this fine community.
Thank you.
Get out and vote.
Exactly. And thank you for your service. Thank you for your service of education for so many years. As an educator and working on the educational field, we know the challenges. We also know what a big heart those educators have to go and teach every single day. So to all of our educators in all Santa Cruz County and everywhere they are watching us, thank you. Thank you for what you do.
My hat's off to you.
Yes. So, Mr. Fanning, running for Board of Supervisor for District Number 3, best luck to you.
Thank you.
We will see you Sunday. And thank you, everyone. We will see you all next week for another segment of Meet Your Local Candidates. And then later in a little bit, we will do a program of border connections, because we also want to make sure that you stay connected with our community. So we will see you in a little bit. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here.
Thank you. And thank you to We Love Nogales, as you guys do a great work.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, guys.